into Wales. Wales are on goal. Slots it beyond Foderingham. And the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box for Duffy. He can hit them. And he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.
Do me a favour, drop me off in Rotherham.
Good evening, one and all. Welcome to the emergency podcast of New York Talk. We have £1 million player to talk about. Yes, Rotherham United have signed a player for over £1 million. It's going to take us at least an hour to get our head around that. And then we've got a game to talk about. Technically 2 games. We are playing on Saturday, and we did play Tuesday. We'll just gloss over that a little bit. We might get a mention or two, but there's more important stuff to talk about than going to Stoke on a Tuesday night. Anyway, Mick, how are you doing?
I'm all good, mate. Thank you very much. It's very nice of you to ask.
Good. Joy, you're back with us. How are you doing, Joy?
Very good as well. Thank you, Matt.
Brill. And Ben's made a special appearance. Rotherham spend £1 million. Ben turns up. How are you doing, Ben?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you.
Good. Very, very good.
Why do you always do me last?
Because I feel like it makes you a bit uncomfortable, to be honest. I enjoy that.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. So I'll say hello to you again once Danny gets here, because then we'll be here in a minute. I'll say hello to you again, try and make you a bit more uncomfortable. YouTuber says, good evening, one and all. Chris Nichols on Nombe, which will come on, says, let's hope it's worth it. Powermed UK says, £1 million. Wow. Yeah. That's the only I'm not going to read Shelley's comment. Well, there's only one place to start. This has been in the rumour mill for a couple of days, Joy. But it's not one of those that's rumbled on for weeks and weeks. It's been in the rumour mill for 2 or 3 days, and Sam Nombe has come to Rotherham United and £1 million, so over £1 million for the first time ever. How are you feeling about the overall deal, and excited that Millers are splashing that kind of cash?
Well, yeah, I mean, you say it's relatively new. It was actually mooted at the beginning of the transfer window, if you remember, because of obviously Matt Taylor's links with Exeter City, because there was Nombe mentioned, wasn't there? There was the lad that went to Peterborough, Collins, and the defender as well. So there were 3 of them that were mentioned early doors, but obviously they went to other teams. But Nombe's sort of picked up, I think, since we got the 7 figures for Ben, to be honest. I think obviously freed up the purse strings for Mr. Stewart, I would suggest. I mean, it's a 4-year deal. I mean, that's a commitment from the club and from Mr. Nombe himself. He's 24. Good age, and I mean, obviously we've all seen what Exeter fans thought about him. Very, very well. We've seen what Matt said about him, which seems to concur with what the Exeter fans have been coming out with about, a pacey, strong midfielder. His figures aren't bad as well. What is it? Played 84 games for them, 27 goals, 10 assists. That's the involvement in a goal every game or so, a couple of games or so, and his XG in League One was 14.49 for League One goals and 3.31 for League One assists, which are not bad figures at all. So promising, incredibly promising. And I think what else is promising is, like, it's not wasted money, is it? Yeah, £1 million is a lot of money for Rotherham, but over a 4-year period, if this guy proves himself, it's an investment, isn't it? And it's not wasted money. It's not loan money. We're not, developing a guy for another team, if that makes sense. So win-win as far as I'm concerned going forward.
I completely agree. Nick, this has sort of worked around through the Ben Wiles deal, and this is again something that's not very Rotherham United. Matt Taylor says, right, I obviously want Nombe. I want this guy as a striker, but I need to get the cash. So it says, right, we will offload you to bring you in. Rotherham have never ever been very good at that. I remember, I'm going back 20 years, but I remember Ronnie Moore sold Alan Lee for nearly £1 million. He got 150 grand to spend. As an example, that's the Rotherham United way normally. This seems it's a very forward-thinking and modern way of doing things, which again is not something we associate with our club.
It hasn't been traditionally, has it? But we've said before on this podcast, over the last 12 years, that the club has modernised and modernised and modernised. And we're almost up into the 21st century now. We're getting there, aren't we? It's good business. It's really, really good business. We sold the player who was never going to sign another contract with us, quite clearly because he had plenty of opportunity. So we've got the money for him, and we've gone and invested it somewhere else. It's what I would have liked to have done for many, many years. We've never been in a position to do it. And because of the hard work that Tony Stewart's put in over the last 12 years, we are now in a position to do it. So it can only be, it's another positive step for me of a positive bit of progress, more progress of, from Tony Stewart's tenure as chairman. It's brilliant. It's good. From that point of view, obviously, this lad's got to turn up on Saturday where it is and do it on the pitch. But I accept that we're just talking about the principle of the matter at the moment, and it just shows for me that the club's being run properly.
Yeah, I agree. Danny's with us. How you doing, Danny?
I'm doing all right. Sorry for the late comings. I was making a cup of tea to celebrate our first £1 million player.
Yeah. Scotty Price says, Tony seems to be giving Matt Taylor anything he wants. Wonder why he never backed any other managers like this. All I would sort of say to that, Danny, is that Matt Taylor's had to do this. But obviously money come from Tony Stewart. But this has been Matt Taylor playing with the budget, to be honest with you. Stewart's not just gone out and said he has 1.5 million for TI and Nombe. He's had to, like we did about Ben Wiles, Matt Taylor has been really clever and cute about what he's done with the budget. And that's just to Matt Taylor praise rather than a dig at what Stewart's done to previous managers for me.
Yeah, and I mean, Taylor said himself that they're not just lump sum fees, they'll be paid out steadily in instalments. And I suppose the bulk of it has come from Wiles going to Huddersfield, which, I think is just over $1 million. Obviously, we've had to pay out a little bit to get the 1.5 available for both Nombe and Taye, but at the same time, the Wiles deal has footed a fair bit of it, so it shows a vast amount of reinvestment, which I think is a good thing as well. It's showing that the club's being run properly enough where a sale isn't just going to the maintenance of anything in the background. It's actually going back into the playing squad. And I was just on the the White Rose podcast before this, and I said we've signed £1 million player, and the look of shock on everyone's face as Rotherham signed a player for £1 million. We're only 44 years behind the first one, be right. But yeah, just going back to the comment, it seems that Taylor gets to basically get all the money that he wants, and I think it's because he just says to Stuart, look, this is what we need. This is what I need to make this squad better, and we're just not going to improve if we don't have it. I don't know how in depth he goes or anything, because I'm not the fly on the wall in those discussions or anything, but it must be such a well laid out plan. And Taylor has said that there is a plan in place for everything. It must be such a well laid out plan that Stuart's looked at it and gone, actually, we can actually achieve this. And he's gone about it that way. Either that, or Stewart has been visited by 3 ghosts over pre-season and he's been told to spend his money. But I know I've missed the talk about the Nombe deal, but from what Exeter fans have been saying and how much they are going to miss him, we've got a really good signing here. Just fingers crossed he can do it in the Championship, and there's no looming pressure of him being our most expensive player that will weigh on him either.
Yeah. Ben, thoughts on the deal? First of all, Ben, I should say that the comments are been lit up with comments about your facial hair again, as it always is when you come on, to be honest with you, Ben. I'll not ask you about that. I just want to embarrass you a little bit.
Well, I've got the same facial hair as you, apart from on the side, so whatever.
Yeah, but people have more comments about yours than mine.
Yes, because they can't see this. Because of the camera angle. This is there. It's not just the task.
Let's move on. Exactly. Let's move on. Let's move on, Ben. This is also an audio.
I mean, not to show off anything, Ben, but there's that as well.
Move on, Ben. £1 million deal. It's a reinvestment. I think John Mills put. It's also signing with a final player with potential resale value. It's the way clubs have to operate. It's the way we haven't operated in the past. It's looking ahead. It's not just thinking, right, will he keep us up this season? It's about thinking, right, 2 or 3 years down the line, how's that going to look for us? It feels forward thinking.
Yeah, I mean, this is all based on the assumption that he's a good player and he plays well. You know, it is definitely an investment. It's definitely forward thinking. But, you know, what if he does his ACL on Saturday, or he plays crap? You know, and he's not a good player. You know what I mean? These are all possibilities. So, I don't know. I think it's a good sign. I agree with what everyone said. To be honest, it is forward thinking. I just hope the pressure don't get to him, or he doesn't kind of smell his own roses and take it all in. You know, first £1 million player or whatever. I hope that don't get to his head, kind of thing. I don't know. I think it's a good deal.
Matt Mill just coming in to forgive me. How do we know it's £1 million? The website says undisclosed fee. Sorry, I must have missed something. Just from Paul Davis, mainly, to be honest with you. 7-figure deal.
A lot of journalists are reporting it's believed to be over £1 million.
Yeah.
And believed to be in the journalism world generally means yeah. Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, if a journalist says it's my understanding, it's depending on the journal, it's probably true. Some journals are not, but that will fuel that one, mate.
Thanks. I'll not comment.
But Paul Davis is, you know, we know how good Paul Davis is, and know how in the know he is. So if Paul Davis says it's seven-figure deal, that's more than good enough for me to assume that's the case. We have now a little bit of treat. We have spoken to Danny's friend, who he's going to give me the name of now.
Jed Penberthy.
Who has watch number? He's watched number for his entire. I think Ryan saying Danny his entire time at Exeter. So he's sent us a little clip. We're going to give us a breakdown of what to expect from Nombe, and we will be back in 2 minutes and 48 seconds.
Well, thanks for having me on. Well, Sam Nombe, what to expect? The initial thoughts is that he's a solid signing for you guys. I think you've seen from the reaction from City fans is that he is well loved, well respected. He will be missed around SJP, and right now at the time of recording, he was our only fit and experienced striker up top. He did come in a couple of years ago as one of Matt Taylor's marquee signings. It was quite rare back then for us to actually buy players, but I think he came to us matching the club record fee, or at least close to it, and he did hit the ground running. He's pacey, prolific, he presses well, but I think that the thing that Taylor loved most about him was his physicality. There was a couple of times where he just barged the fullback off the ball and stroked the ball into the corner, and it was that presence up top that I think that Taylor really favoured from him. He holds the play up well enough and can peel in behind. Without him, he wouldn't have gone up. Wouldn't have even been close to promotion. He scored 27 goals in 85 games, so 1 in 3 isn't too bad going for the lower leagues. Can he replicate in the Championship, though? That's the big question. It is interesting that he's left, because as City fans, though we're sad he's gone, we haven't quite had the meltdown we would have previously had when big players leave. Had he scored a couple already this season, it may have been different, but from the games that I've seen him, he hasn't quite looked as sharp as he does when he's at his best. Maybe it's because of this transfer was on his mind. Maybe it was because he knew he was leaving, but he hasn't performed badly. He hasn't played badly. He's just not scored this season, basically. The hold-up play, the physicality, his creativity is still there. I mean, he's contributed a couple of times this season without scoring himself. But if we can replace him with someone similar, I think we'll be all right. Ultimately, I think it's the best signing for all three parties. You guys desperately needed a striker who will give absolutely everything for his manager, and I don't think I need to go into detail how much Sam means to Matt, and vice versa. For City, it's a good profit from him. A bit will go to MK Dons, and you just wonder how we'll work around his absence this Saturday and before the window shuts. And finally, for Sam himself, it's a great chance for him to prove what he can do in the Championship. He's a player who, when he does get his first goal, he will get a hatful, and that's really exciting for you guys. I know that Matt Taylor, Wayne Carlisle and Dan Green will mould the attack around him, and as a focal point, he should do well at Rotherham. Basically, look after him and he'll look after you. So, yeah, best of luck to Sam, and you guys have got a good signing on there.
Thank you very much for that. It's interesting. It's interesting. Let's talk about how he's going to fit into the system, because we've been playing with a striker. The only time we've seen two strikers is during the in-game changes. That's how it's been under Matt Taylor and the previous managements as well. This to me scares a change, because I think he likes Hugo. He really likes Hugo. I think he likes what Hugo does. I would be surprised to see Hugo come out of the team for Nombe, but Nombe is not going to play. So it's been interesting. This to me is a sign of a change going forward.
Potentially, yeah. Potentially it is. It's potentially a change of formation, or a rotation with Jordan Hugo to see who gets the most goals. And but we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see what Matt Taylor wants to do. Is he going to be form part of this front three that we've had? If that's the case, what happens to Fred? Does he drop a little bit further back? It's giving Matt Taylor a bit of a headache there. I mean, Onyedinma's not necessarily a striker, is he? No. He's more of a defender turned winger, if you like. Andre Green on the other side is more of a striker turned left of a front three. So there's a little bit of mixing and matching there. So we'll have to wait and see what Matt Taylor thinks. They sound quite similar players does Hugo and Nombe. So I don't know. We'll see. But it's a good headache to have, isn't it? Yeah,
it's a very, very headache to have. Joy, we obviously heard in the clip there about Matt Taylor being a big fan of Nombe, obviously signing for £1 million, but that's a good sign. He knows the players. He's not spending £1 million on somebody who's not worked with before and needs to maybe understand it. He knows what this guy needs to succeed. All right, was at League 2 and League 1, but he knows what this guy needs. So maybe is that a little bit less of a risk, you think, or is it still £1 million risk?
I think so. I mean, because basically, what you've got to think is the experience that Matty Taylor's had with Nombe, and vice versa, as to what the guy from Exeter just touched upon. The other thing as well is Matt's stepped up, hasn't he, to the Championship? Everybody's got to have the opportunity to develop and step up. He's only 24, he's not the finished article yet. And as the guy in the, the Exeter fan said, if they know him already, they're hitting the ground running, aren't they? They're not going to have to get to know him and find out what his strengths, weaknesses are, and how to play with him, how to integrate him into a team. They'll have an idea about that already, I would assume. So, it wouldn't surprise me if he's in to start on Saturday, to be honest. Mm-hmm. So, I hear that he has signed in time to be at least on the team sheet for Saturday. It'd be interesting to see what they've been doing in training there this week since he signed on Wednesday. Since he came up yesterday. Mm-hmm. But you've got to also think that, he's another guy that's made a bit of a schlep halfway up the country to come from Exeter to Yorkshire. It's not like, tripping across the Barnsley, is it? But, so obviously Sam himself is into, is willing to buy into this. And what I'm hearing around from Matt Taylor and the other coaches is they are calling him a Rotherham type player, So, I think, as I said before, it seems to me win-win all across the board.
Yeah, I agree. I thought he spoke well in his interview that he did with the club website. He actually called Matt Taylor Matty, I think.
Yeah.
It wasn't gaffer or boss, it was Matty. Yeah. Which again shows they've got a relationship. I kind of like that they've got that relationship in there. But I think that's certainly is a positive. Danny, again, your thought. We'll talk about the Norwich game in a minute in a bit more detail. But thoughts on what this means going forward? I suppose that's a difficult question to answer. Bear in mind, we might still sign 2 or 3 more players in the next 24 hours. We're not finished yet, I suppose. That's again a positive that we spent this money and we ain't done yet.
Yeah, definitely. And we've still got those 2 loan options available as well. Like, obviously, we can go out and sign more loan players, but we've still got the 2 options left in the matchday squad, which is good. I mean, Taylor spoke of how the opportunity came up to buy him permanently, and we sort of like nipped in and got it done as quickly as we could. And Nombe even said it happened really quickly, and he couldn't really turn it down working with Taylor and playing Championship football. But in terms of the striker that he is, like Jed said in the clip, he's quite pacey but powerful. He knows where the goal is. And in terms of lower league football, he has been quite prolific. And Taylor knows how to get the best out of him. So hopefully it just carries on into the Championship, even though it is another step up. But in terms of where it leaves us, it's very interesting because we've got Hugo, who was our main man, and going forward, but he always needs someone on the side of him or just behind him, sort of thing, to go forward and support him and play that ball through. And Nombe is an assister. I think he got 10 assists, last season. Again, different kettle of fish because it's League One, but if that's one role that he's playing, it could prove fruitful for us. But again, it's like we've been playing with the three, with Onyema on the right-hand side and Green on the left. So it's like, where does that leave us with that? Is Nombe going to come in and we're going to be the more impact player when people are getting tired and Hugo tries to power through him or play on set pieces and rotate it round that way? Where does that leave Georgie as well? Where does that leave Coyote? I think it's a signing that's happened to really push everybody else, but to give us more options off the bench, because now it opens up so many different channels in of itself. We don't have to start Hugo every single time now. We can either start Hugo and bring Nombe on, or we can start Nombe and bring Hugo on just to keep it ebbing and flowing, which I think with Nombe being a bit more of a versatile, pacey forward, he might be able to play out wider. He might be able to play more centrally just to accommodate Hugo if he plays wider or to replace him if not, etc. So there are a lot of options and a lot of doors that have been opened up with this signing. But I think, for me anyway, the most important line Jed said there, he knows where the goal is.
Yeah.
So he knows that rectangle to aim for. And we've still not had a striker score this season. We nearly had one, but it got ruled off for something daft. So that's why I'm quite happy with this signing. But again, I don't want the whole looming chandelier over him of he's our most expensive player to get to him. I hope he looks at it and goes, I've got a point to prove here and I've got something to live up to. So he's going to crack on and really drive to be the best that he can be. And I think Matt Taylor being honest and saying he still has areas to work on shows he is willing to kick on and improve as well. And that's something we want as well. We want someone to adapt their game, not just to improve them, but to improve us.
Yeah. £1 million, Ben, on him, obviously. Building what Mick and Danny said, that I can't see him not playing as a central striker. Because imagine paying £1 million for somebody who's a striker and putting him on right-hand side, on right wing or left wing or whatever like that. It's something Steve Evans might do had he been given £1 million to spend. But could you see him not playing as a central striker, bearing in mind the cash that has been outlaid?
I don't think the cash plays any part. I think Matt Taylor will play him where he sees fit for the team and what's going to help him play his system best. I don't think it matters if you got him for free or spent 100 million on him. He's going to play where Taylor wants him to play and where he's going to be most effective for the team. Is he not?
I would have thought you want to.
I would assume so. I would assume.
The point is,
I'm going to assume this new guy.
You'd spend £1 million on a right winger. Or if you want a left wing, you'd spend £1 million on a left winger.
Depends how you want that position being played. If you want that position being played defensively, you might get a right back and play him right wing. But if you want it playing physically, you want to get balls into air, you might put a striker out there. True. There's not the set positions and set rules that you signed him as a striker, so now he has to play striker. No, he's going to play where the system dictates. I would assume.
Fair. Martin Miller says all we need now is a defence that doesn't concede goals.
Just going on from what Ben said there, Andre Green is a striker.
True.
So when we play, if you put those three across the front there, that's a hell of a front three, a very threatening front three. Certainly in given the level that we've had over recent years. So I agree with Ben. I absolutely agree with Ben. I don't think the money is relevant in terms of where he plays or when he plays. I don't think that's important. it's almost a bit of a milestone. That's it.
Yeah.
We're now getting down to business. You know, the business is putting the ball in the back of the net from wherever you happen to be on the pitch. Ultimately, so yeah, we'll have to wait and see what Matt Taylor's got in mind. But I'm sure he will have a plan. There is no doubt whatsoever about that.
Here's a question: how would you best describe our attacking options now? Because it's almost like it's a floating attack where the players are quite interchangeable with different positions. The only player that isn't really interchangeable is Tom Eaves, where he is your centre forward. You know, but maybe Hugo as well. Yeah,
this is one of the issues
floats around, don't they?
We're trying to we're sat here as non-football people, non-football coaches, trying to work out whether it's going to be a 4-5-2 or a 3-5-2 or a 4-3-3. I know it can't be a 4-5-2. I know that.
Give me a minute, that one.
I was just going to sneak another one in. You know what I mean? You never know.
Technically, you could play 4-5-2. You could play 4-5-2.
You could, yeah.
And have a proper sweeper keeper.
But the bottom line is, you know, that formation changes within a game, let alone you know, on the team sheet. So I think we're just sort of speculating here. Let's wait and see. It's a very, very positive signing for all the reasons that we've said here. Very positive.
Yeah, it's John mentioned he's got to feel for Exeter. Lost both of their forwards from last season, haven't they? Yeah, they have, but I think they've still had a great start to the season.
I think, aren't they?
They best carry on that good start because they're in my last man standing for Saturday.
This sort of brings us on to Saturday, Joy. Scott Price says, "I'd like to see Hugo dropped. It's not working up front. Let's give the new signing and Green a go up top." Interesting. That take on Hugo. I feel like Hugo's been dug out a lot, and I think people are just seeing Nombe coming and think, "Oh, that's the end of Jordan Hugo. Then goodbye, Jordan." But I think he's got a lot of unfair stick this season. They're moving on sort of a preview. What are your thoughts on Hugo, his role in the team? How important is Hugo's role?
Well, I think he had his best game this season against Leicester, and he was very unfortunate not to get that goal. Let's be honest, he's a pain in the arse, isn't he, for defenders? Yeah. You know, whether he's backing into him, chucking himself on the floor, you know, even sort of, you know, his shenanigans with the ref and, you know, grabbing his head and, oh, whoa, and it's just a pain in the arse, I would imagine, to play against. You know, and he has got you know, he's been around. He's played. Don't forget, he's an ex-Premiership player as well. It's like, you know, he has been around. He's got bags of experience, which is going to, you know, help Nombe along as well, I assume. You know, and our other strikers. So let's not just write him off. I mean, he only came in January, and he was instrumental in that period. You know, those 5 goals that he got were, you know, kept us up in you know, and in all honesty, going since then. Yeah, it's not set the world alight at the start of this season, but perhaps he's one of those players that, you know, needs a little bit of time to get going. And you know, the team has been a little bit hit and miss with its way that it's been made up. It's not necessarily been the same guys in the same position every week. I mean, for example, we've had 2 people sent off in the first 2 games, you know, so he's lost Onyedinma for one as well, didn't he? Lost his service from Cafu in another, you know, so those also impact on Hugo's performances as well. And, you know, now we've got Teehee in, and hopefully he's getting stronger game by game. All these people around him, it's not just Hugo, he's part of a team. And now he's got, you know, we're getting the players back and the players in the team that will support Hugo to get the best out of him, I hope, going forward. That would be the way that I look at it and his role in it. I don't think he's done for with Nombe signing. You know, I don't think that's the end of Jordan. It might actually be a rocket for him as well.
Yeah. I think another point to add to that is, would you have dropped Hugo pre-West Brom last season? Is one of his previous clubs. I don't think you would you? And he's playing one of his previous clubs on Saturday. So, you know, he should be first name on team sheet, quite honestly, because he is going to be highly, highly motivated to bag a brace again.
And if Nombe's got that physicality that we have seen from some of his goals, a Nombe physicality with a Hugo physicality is going to be a nightmare for some defences if you can get both of them playing. It's going to be really difficult for them.
Particularly, sorry, just very quickly, particularly teams like Norwich, who like to play it about and pansy about at back with a ball. Great fun.
Just because they do that don't mean they've got no physicality. They've still got Grant Hanley, right?
Teams like Norwich.
I want to see him in an alleyway.
He's my age, Grant Hanley, isn't he?
Yeah, well, you want to put header with him.
They have got Shane Duffy, and Ashley Barnes. So there is that physicality in that Norwich team. It definitely is there. If you haven't watched the scouting report, go and watch the scouting report we did with Pinken, Connor from the Pinken. He talks about their adaptable style and the David Wagner style. Well, when we were watching Huddersfield 2 or 3 years ago, maybe a bit longer ago, it seems like Norwich have built into that style a little bit, which is interesting because that was a very good team to watch, Huddersfield, at the time. So let's hope they miss their mark on Saturday. Chris Taylor says we've got Fred and Appiah on the right, Green and Nombe on the left, and Hugo plus another strike force. Yeah, I think that's really good. That's a pretty good setup, Danny. And again, moving forward, it gives us options. There's been loads of people put comments tonight saying it gives us options. We can start in a few different ways. We can make subs. This is what cost us almost 7 days ago. We can make those subs in the last 20 minutes to bring a bit of energy on, bring a bit of physicality, bring a bit of know-how on. We've got all that in place in certain areas. We still need a couple more players, obviously, but we've got those options finally.
Yeah, and I think that's really been our, how do I describe it, switch-off moments in games, like the last 20 minutes or so, where you can quite clearly tell everyone's just starting to flag a little bit, and it's from like 70 minutes onwards, and it's like, we could get to 100 minutes, there could be an extra half an hour left. And we just didn't have the quality level, shall we say, the experience level as well, just to egg on just a little bit in the game. I know, as respect to the other players, that's just the situation that we're in. There's a very low appearance margin for the rest of the players that were on the bench, both in Rotherham United shirts and otherwise in some cases. But the signing of Nombe just puffs it out a little bit. It's like a little option on the bench and a little option to rotate, because we had a few players go down and we were stuck. Whereas now, I think if we had the same situation, you're just starting to see where the other jigsaw pieces are starting to fit around it now. And I think with another 2 more, which is what Taylor's hoping for, and maybe the more fringy players leaving, I think most people will be happy with that.
Yeah. Let's just pick up a few other transfer bits of business that we have. Jimmy McCart has gone out on loan to Barnsley. That happened about half an hour before we started recording. I don't think it was a very good game on Tuesday from watching the goals back, but that's one of those things. JJ Coyote could be on his way. Could be on his way to Barnsley again, and that's all the outgoings I have the notes at the minute. To be honest with you, if any more outgoings come, Matt did say we'll be probably busy over the next 24, 40 hours. Ben, anything on McCart? It's a tough one because he's not played very much, and when he's played, sometimes he's been quiet. Other times he's been poor. We've never seen a positive from Jamie McCart, which I think is pretty disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably count on one hand the amount of times I've seen him play personally. Not a lot. It's a shame, really. He came in, obviously, with Warren and that when and we had that great start to the season. Did he go out on loan or did he stay?
The end of the season went later on in one League Two, didn't he?
But he was there at the start. It was there until Warren left, right?
Yeah, he barely played. He played.
Yeah.
But if he's played 10 times, I'll be surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, but he came in with that kind of recruitment class, and it's like, he kind of excited, thinking he might be turning into something, and it's kind of a shame, really. But I never seen him play well, with all due respect. So I think it's probably best to say, what if Barnsley want him? Why not? It sounds like a good move. It's 2 minutes away. You don't have to move house. Perfect move, really, isn't
it? Yeah. 8 appearances apparently is made for us.
12 in total in all competitions.
Yeah, including the League Cups. Yeah, I think there's a picture of on the cricket field last year with Jamie McCart, Tom Eves, and Conor Washington. Just That's just a contrast to this summer's recruitment, and it's a big contrast to that. Let's get it out of the way. What?
Why is it?
What, signed those 3 players on a free transfer, and then?
Oh, you mean in terms of like how much we spent?
I mean, I would argue with the qualities that the new signs have shown already on the pitch as well is a contrast as well.
Yeah, but we haven't seen Noom yet, or
Nombe.
Appian. Nombe, whatever his name is. I thought it had 2 O's in it.
No, it's 1, isn't it?
No, it's not, mate.
It?
Good research.
It was Noombe. My mum said Noombe, so I just went with Noombe.
That's a brand of Hoover, isn't it?
Is it?
Is it the Hoover from Teletubbies? I can't remember. But I would argue the other signs that have played have been a significant upgrade, Ben. But let's stop arguing, because that's what it always descends into when you turn up. Let's get this out of Mike the Miller's desperate for us to have a moan. It's just 32 minutes in and not a whiff of Tuesday night's debacle yet.
Am I allowed to swear on this one?
Not really. I mean, Mick, I spoke to the Norwich podcast and I said to them, I have never cared as little about a competitive game in my entire time watching Rotherham United. We talked about it on Sunday and we said, well, there's going to be loads of changes and it doesn't matter. We made the changes. I said, look, this doesn't matter. We're going to lose 2 or 3-0. I don't matter. And it got to 6-1. I went, I don't care. It may as well have been a behind closed doors friendly. I don't know why, but I just couldn't have been less engaged in the game itself at all.
Have you come to me because you think I might have been engaged in any way in the League Cup? I mean,
if anybody's got any engagement on that game, let us know.
Look, I mean, the bottom line is to lose 6-1 to a team in the same division in the Cup is disappointing.
Of course. Very
disappointing. And it sounds like the performance was very disappointing. I personally, I was happy. I'm happy that we're out of the competition. I would have preferred it to be quite a little bit less comprehensive in the way that we were beaten, and there may possibly be some confidence fallout as a result of it. Hopefully not, given the way that we played on Saturday against Leicester City. Hopefully, for me, it's dead and gone. It's dead and buried, and I'm glad we're out of the competition personally. And I'm pretty much like you. I really don't care. I genuinely, hand on heart, could not care less. Which is a bit bad, really, I suppose.
It is.
But would you have really wanted to schlep to Bournemouth midweek as well?
Yeah. No, it wouldn't have been so bad for you, Joe. It'd be a lot closer for you, wouldn't it? But still a tough journey.
It'll take me about 3 hours to get to Bournemouth from here.
Fair enough, yeah.
There's a few people commenting saying, call it embarrassing. Phil says, really, guys, if we'd won the game, you'd been singing our praises.
I don't think I would, to be honest.
John says, losing a game in the manner is one thing to defeat is more worry rather than the scoreline. Yeah, but you look at the lineup. You've got Sean Morrison, who I don't think plays well in the back four. We play the back four. You've got Cameron Frizz playing in the central midfield position. He's a central half. You've got Talaja Bola, who is basically our third choice left back, playing right back. You've got a 19-year-old kid who's never started a competitive game in EFL football starting up front. You've got a midfield that I just didn't recognise. Appia playing his first game back in England in I don't know how long. And you've got Stoke, who've had one of the best windows of anybody out of in the Championship at the minute, who've got a great second 11. Joy, anything to add on the game? Because I think we've covered it pretty comprehensively and our feelings on it.
Well, I mean, that is the thing, isn't it? I mean, it was like half a team one half and half a team the second half, it seemed. I mean, because I assume it's like most cup games, you've got to have a certain number of people in your team who've played in the league as well. I'm making an assumption there. So obviously it had to have people in, but it were square pegs in round holes, as you said, Matt, and like it was like nobody seemed to be bothered. I mean, yes, the scoreline was a bit disgusting, but yeah, I think a lot of us felt meh at the end of the day. The scorelines, and I think from what I hear in Matty Taylor's press, he wasn't happy. He actually came out and said basically some guys are never going to see action in this team again. Was my impression that what reading between the lines, and lo and behold, people are leaving, aren't they? Mr. McCart, who played on Tuesday, is no longer with us. So whom will be the next out the door? Mr. Bowler, possibly. Mr. McGucking, probably. And I think that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. John Morell says, wins a squad, Matt loses a squad. Yeah, that's right. If you listen to Matt Taylor post-game, from what he was saying, it didn't seem to want some of those players that are playing. So I think it can also use it as a positive to bring players in, to be honest, showing we need the players.
The thing is, the most important thing for this football club is to stay in the Championship this season. And the last thing that we need is injuries for key players from games that have no benefit to us. They have little financial benefit to us, and ultimately, as far as in terms of gauging the season at the end of it, have no benefit to us. What's important is that we maintain a strong squad for the league, and we can't. For me, coming out of that on Tuesday night. Without any key injuries, and we need to come on to Tom Eaves. We need to discuss Tom Eaves while we're on the subject. To come out of that with no injuries to key players is the only thing that really I'm happy about. The rest of it, it's opinions in it again. And I know people in the comments saying, if we'd won, we'd have been singing the praises. I personally wouldn't. I didn't want to win because then we've got another game. We've got another game in addition to the league games, and the league is so important to us this season.
Yeah. Jan Bieber says, you may or may not notice that teams that go on have good season often perform in other competitions. Rotherham United have a terrible, terrible history in cup competitions, excluding Papa John's in 2022 or whatever it was. We have a horrendous cup competition. FA Cup's an embarrassing record. League Cup's not very good either. I think he's right in certain clubs to kind of have good cup runs and good seasons, but they have never impacted Rotherham United ever. I'm watching this club.
I think one the Papa John's win 2 seasons ago, the only time we've done well in the league and in the cup in the same season.
There you go, exactly.
It seemed because the last time we won the AFL trophy, we won it and finished like 16.
It's not stupid.
I think off the top of my head, and then with FA Cup and stuff, you're going back to the 50s to when we've last done well in the league and the cup. I think our priority is really just to solidify in whatever league we are, and that seems to be our mindset. Solidifying the league, and then maybe we can have a cup run when we're in the second tier. Because the AFL Trophy is the only competition we've progressed through during a good lower league season as well. If you like League 1 and 2 being lower league, if you like. Because it seems to be we never got beyond third round at FA Cup, even when we've entered it at that stage or progressed to that stage, and we've never gone beyond second round at EFL Cup either. So we tend to be like, we'll leave them ones to the teams that are actually bothered about winning them, and we'll concentrate on ourselves. But the one cup we might have a crack at winning, at least recently, we've sort of gone, why not? We'll have a go, see where it takes us. But I think that is also a good mentality to have, because it shows like we're in it for the long slog and not just the cup competition that pops up occasionally. It becomes like its own little headache, I suppose, doesn't it? But a cup run might be nice at some point, but I would rather solidify in the league first and then have a do at a cup. Maybe try for the fifth round at FA Cup for once.
Fourth round would be nice.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, you never know; it might happen this season.
Right.
Wait until January to find out.
You can dream. But if you mentioned on Tommy, I mentioned the Tommy situation. There was a worrying moment on Tuesday where he had some medical attention post game. Everything Matt Taylor talked about all being in the clear. Gone to hospital for some checks. It appears to be some essentially muscle spasm, which I can imagine is a terrifying muscle spasm, to be honest with you. I think gives you chest pains. But thankfully, Tommy is okay. I think he is in contention. Assuming he stays at the club, he's scheduled to be in contention for Saturday, which is good news. I think is a useful boy to have around the club, assuming he is here. Bennett, finally, I'll give you a last shout because you've been very quiet on the cup competition. Make it quick. Anything to add?
Nah, I think everyone covered it. I don't got anything to add.
Cool. You've been good tonight, Ben. Thank you very much. I'll let you have first crack at Saturday then, Ben. What do you want to see in terms of fun? We obviously less points, ignoring Stoke. We've had a really good performance on the weekend. We've added to that squad. We maybe had 2 or 3 more tomorrow. Are you feeling positive? Are you worried because Norwich's start's been so good?
I wouldn't say I'm worried. I mean, what's it been? 3 games? 3 league games?
It's 5 now. This will be 5.
4 league games. I mean, you can't really class that as a good or bad start, in my opinion. It's 4 games. I mean, 2 of them games I think we should have won. I think we should have beat Leicester, and I think we should have beat Blackburn. So we should be on 6 points, in my opinion, and then that's classed as a good start. So I wouldn't really class them as having a good start, but I don't know, mate. It's football. Anything can happen. I think we'll win. I'm confident. I'm confident. Always confident at home, though. So
yeah, same here.
I'm going to go off that.
You would end the sentence with a bit of nugget of white wisdom there, Ben. Very good. Freezing Furious, Josh Sargent missing for Saturday. Yeah, again, something we spoke to Conor about. The scout report is Josh Sargent, who is a Premier League player, to be honest with you. He has been crucial to them, and he's injured for this coming week and for many weeks ahead. And that's, look, mate, you've got to play these teams. We've all got to play these teams twice. We all know how it works. But if you can play a team who are disrupted, who have one of their better players injured for the first time in a while, bearing in mind how good their start has been, that is a big plus for us that a player like Josh Sargent's not playing. Yeah,
absolutely, it is. Absolutely. He is a dangerous player, despite being American. He's still a dangerous player, which is,
They're getting better at football.
So I understand, yeah. But no, seriously, that is a benefit for us, obviously. I've noticed on their Twitter account, Norwich City, the quote from the manager is that we know all about Rotherham United. We know all about them, the big physical, direct side. So I'm not entirely sure.
Oh, they've worked us out. Oh, no.
I mean, to be fair, they might want to have a look at their scouts, perhaps.
Nick, they might be watching.
Because, well, we'll have to wait. I mean that. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, they turn up on Saturday with that attitude. Happy days, because when I'm pretty sure, and this might come back to bite me on backside. I hope it doesn't, but come 5:30 on Friday, on Saturday afternoon, when they're driving out of New York Stadium in their fancy coach, they'll know they've been in a game. Yeah. They may or may not have 3 points in the back pocket. I'm hopeful that they won't, but they will know that they've been in a game, and it won't be because they've been, sort of bullied off the pitch. I mean, they will have, but there'll be some.
I disagree with that. I think we are a physical team.
Well, much less so now.
It's not necessarily the physicality that I'm talking about. It's the direct long ball team that.
I said this to you. Anymore. I think we are. You look at every time Victor gets the ball, it's long. There's nothing wrong with it. We're more direct than other teams. The point I would make is there's a lot more football being played on the deck in the midfield than there ever has been for a long time. We're still more direct than any other club, I would say.
Yeah, well, I'm not necessarily going to agree with that, but there you go. Okay. We can carry that on Saturday over a pre-match pint.
Yeah. John Morells mentions their number 10, Ashley Barnes. I think is their number 10 is a wonderful player. He's a very good player. Anonymous says we've got to shut down John Rowe as well. He's been instrumental for them. Yeah, John Rowe has 5 in 5. Never heard of the guy before the season. He scored 5 goals in 5 games, which is obviously very, very impressive for a team like Norwich. You expect to have sort of ready-made Ashley Barnes type players who are ready to go. They're already ready. It's unusual for them to sort of. He's used through their academy, so it's unusual to sort of see that. Joy, let's talk about sort of formation. We had a comment question, so I can't put it. Apologies. But formation-wise, what do you want to see? I suppose as we'll start. What do you want to see from them in terms of how we will set up?
Well, at home, like most people, I just don't want to see one at the top. It's going to be difficult actually to think what formation we're likely to put out because we don't know what personnel we're going to have by 5 o'clock tomorrow, do it, or 11 o'clock tomorrow, whenever it is. So, I mean, what we've been playing recently is sort of 3-5-1-1, isn't it? Sort of,
yeah.
3-5-2. The thing is, because we've got a lot more versatility in the team, we can swap and change as the game changes, haven't we? Because was it on against Leicester? We started with the back three and ended with the back four. You know, so it's going to be difficult to sort of assess what formation is going to be put out there. I think it depends on personnel, and B what they've been practicing obviously today. This week at Roundwood, you know. But it seems to me we seem to be starting with the three at the back and then a mixture of midfield and attacking options. You know, is he going to put Hugill and Nombe on together? You know, is Fred going to be on there? Is Andre Green going to be playing? Is going to drop down to the bench? Is Appiah going to be involved? You know, what's happening with the left side defence, which has been a little bit dodgy. You know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, Danny. Nombe's come in and we'll spend all the cash on him. It's going to be, whoever you take out, it's going to be harsh on because Hugill was good last week. Onyedinma's been fantastic and Andre Green's not done much wrong. So one of those you would assume is going to have to make way. So one of them is going to be pretty harshly done by whoever drops out.
Yeah, definitely. I think sort of the further back a bit, like midfield backwards, we sort of know roughly what's going to happen unless someone's picked up a little niggle or the ones who are out injured.
Always sign 3 players who can
always sign a midfielder, a defender, and another centre half or something. But I think it is going to be Victor in goal, Lemikisa, Humphreys, Blackett, and probably Bramall across that back line. Again, signings pending. Taihi, Rathbone and Cafu in midfield, and then, like you just said, Matt, the headache really comes with the front line. I mean, we saw against Leicester that Onyedinma was quite proactive across the front line. You know, sometimes he was stood out next to Green, other times he was out on the right hand side. So maybe he could be that player that's in behind the front two and plays across that line. Potentially, which then could open the door to a front two. Could even be Nombe and Hugill up top together, or Hugill and Green as your more striker-based attackers, if you like, with Onyedinma just behind him, running his arse off effectively. Or will he come back in with the front three? Will it be the same front three as against Leicester? Will Nombe even start? Will he be off the bench? You see where I'm going with this? It's a real headache, isn't it?
You haven't got a clue.
No, basically, I haven't got a Scooby, mate. That's what I'll say. Hopefully, Matt Taylor's got a Scooby about it, being the football manager. But from my perspective, no idea. We'll just wait and see what happens on Saturday and go, all right, fair enough.
Yeah. Phil says
I'm confident in all of them. That's the good thing. I'm confident in all of them.
Yeah. Phil says Nombe, Fred and Green. He's a much more mobile front line, which I think it is. That's one thing that Hugill lacks massively is his mobility. Mike the Miller really is stirring the pot tonight. He says, does everybody think that Victor hasn't quite hit the consistent heights of last season? Anybody?
Yeah, I do.
You do think he has hit the heights, or you don't?
No, I don't think he has yet. No, I think the thing with Victor, he set the bar very, very, very high last season. And whilst he's not had masses to do this season, except that we have conceded quite a few goals, few of them have been his fault. But yeah, I think he's got some room for improvement. Early season, so early in the season, his figures are not stacking up the way they did last season in terms of save percentages, etc. But I am not. It's not something that I'm particularly concerned about. You know, no. He's absolute quality, and I think, like we said, I think I can't remember which game it was now. One of the Sunderland goal, the first Sunderland goal, I think he'd be disappointed with. Albeit it would have been a wonderful save if he managed to keep it out. I think he himself, given the standard that he's set, will be disappointed in it. But I think he's got a lot more to come, Victor, this season, without a doubt.
Yeah, I think that's fair. He has got a lot more to come in his career than mine this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's off to play for Sweden.
He's got his call for Sweden. Yeah,
great news.
McGuckin also got his call for the under-21s of Northern Ireland as well, which is good for him as well. Less international than we have had in the past, isn't it? And now Chio's gone. Connor Washington's gone. Berg is injured. Shelley says Freddie's scoring our goals at the minute. He surely has to play. Probably so. Right, shall we do some predictions? Let's get some predictions in the bank. Benjamin, Mr. Positive tonight. What do you reckon?
3-0 loss. Sorry.
2-1. 2-1.
Us?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go next. I'm going to have 1-2-1 as well. Michael?
I'm going to stick with my 2-0 prediction because Victor's definitely going to keep a clean sheet at some stage of the season, and why not make it Saturday? And I think we'll bag a couple of goals. I mean, that's just a ridiculous thing to say, innit? I know it is, giving Norwich a start, but I'm sticking with it.
Okay, no worries. Danny?
I can see a cheeky 1-0 today, lads. I can really... Yeah, Saturday. Yeah, my head's all over the place. I do think it could be a 1-0. I think Norwich may come into this game and look at it and just go, well, Leicester have beat them semi-comfortably. We're just behind them. We should beat them comfortably anyway. And we might surprise them, depending on who we bring in and how the team gels with potentially a different striker. We may surprise them, I think. And I'm not saying it'll be like Stoke away last season where we smash and grab and cling on for dear life. I think we will give Norwich a game and they'll grow more frustrated and we may sneak a goal and win 1-0.
Yeah, I hope so. And Joy, what are your thoughts?
I think it'll be 2-1 either way, to be honest. I can see it being either way because they've had a reasonable start. But let's be positive. Let's go 2-1 to us.
I like it. I like style. This is not relevant to anybody. I've been using this green book to write our score predictions in for a long time. I've now ran out of pages of score predictions. And just to give you an idea of how long I've had this book for, one of the first names on here is Jamal Blackman. So it's been in use for a couple of years. So this is my new book. But yeah, boring that for you. Harvey Kelwick says 1-1. Jan Beaver says 3-1 to the Millers. Jamie says 3-1. John Morrell, really with his Birmingham hat on, says 4-0 to Rotherham. John says 4-2 to Norwich. Tim McCowan says 2-1 to the Millers, as does Power Mad as well. And so does Phil. There we go. Anything else that we need to talk about tonight? Any rumours, transfer rumours? I haven't heard any names. I don't know if anybody else has.
I've just seen that comment that Paul Davis has put out about Rathbun's contract quite queries.
Yeah,
Fingers
of course.
crossed.
That's a really good one. That to get you sign £1 million player and then you sign Ollie Rathbun to hopefully at least another 3 years. I don't think that's a bad week, is it? If that comes through, we will probably be back tomorrow, Mick and Danny. It's deadline day tomorrow. The yellow tie is ready to go. Just need to iron my shirt and then have the full outfit. I don't know if Mick's ready for it.
I may still be in my work clothes depending on time.
Take the yellow tie with you.
That's going to look right funny, that. Me in a black t-shirt and wearing a yellow tie. What's that for, Danny? It's deadline day, isn't it? Deadline
day. It's like at Christmas you wear festive clothes. It's essentially a festive piece of clothing.
Yeah, true.
So we will back. It'll probably be the later time, probably after 9 o'clock, just to pick up any signs we have made or any signs we will make. If we'll do it, same we did in January transfer window, where if there is a signing going to happen, we'll probably stay up and talk about it and wait for the sign to come through and try not to break it before the club this time, like we did with Keena, which was awkward. But yeah, We like it like that. Ben, might even you be joining us, be gracing your facial hair, be joining us again?
I doubt it.
Better things to do.
Yeah.
Cheers, mate. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Splashhead. Donna says we're doing a midnight podcast. Well, yeah, what we're doing? Well, we won't. Probably not. Mick won't be. Mick will be too drunk to do a midnight.
I can't stay up that late. It's way past my bedtime. That. What time does the transfer window shut? 11:30.
11.
11.
Yeah,
Oh,
11, but you can have that weird hours extension, can't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Fun times.
Yeah, we will be back. And then obviously we've got Saturday of the game. We'll do obviously the instant reaction, which will be out Saturday evening. If anybody watching wants to come on the instant reaction, that is open. That's not something that's sort of a closed shop. If you're around, if you go to a game on Saturday, and we always do it by the board with the name. What's it called? Where you put the names on
The memorial wall.
The wall with the memorial wall. We're around there after kickoff. After kickoff. Ed's gone today. Post game. So if you want to be on it or you want to take part, let us know. And we'll have you aboard the show. Damon Cohen says we need to sack Ben or send him out on loan. We'll see if there's any Wednesday podcasts that need a young future professional sports person. And Jan Bieber says Ben is what makes this podcast. That is disappointing to hear because Ben's.
I'm sure he'll be going back out on loan very shortly, isn't he? Anyway.
Probably. Yeah. So thank you all for being with us. Make sure you subscribed on YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribed and like the video. Give this video a thumbs up if you are so watching. Make sure you check out the scouting report from Connor from the Pinken, which is again on YouTube. Like the video, and that's on there as well. If you are listening on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever else you may be listening, please make sure you have subscribed to wherever that may be and give us a 5-star rating. If your provider allows you to do so. Like I said, we'll see you tomorrow if you're going to be with us. If not, we'll be back Sunday. And we have a plan or two for the international break, which may or may not come to pass, but we have a plan, which will be good if it comes through. Bear with us on that one. Benjamin, thank you for being with us tonight. Your insight and positivity has been a shining beacon tonight. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Joy, thank you very much for being with us. It's a pleasure.
No problems.
Danny, thank you very much, mate, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Hope to see you tomorrow. I am going to push work to ask our sports news on as much as I can. But yeah, I hope to see you after about 10 o'clock, lads.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, and everybody get your notifications over Rotherham United Twitter account tomorrow because hopefully there will be up to 3 signings on one day. That'll be incredible if that comes through. So yeah, get those on. And Mick, it's your day off tour, isn't it?
It is indeed. I'm going out shopping, yellow tie shopping.
Ooh. Get excited, everybody. It's a yellow tie day.
Yeah. Stop. Shut up.
Okay.
Me, I'm saying.
Cool. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you all next time. And up the Millers.
Up Millers.
Slides into Wales through a goal, slots it beyond Foderingham, and the Millers are in front in the South Yorkshire derby. And for the first time in 42 years, Rotherham United win at Bramall Lane. On the edge of the box, the Dolphin, he can hit them, and he does. The Dolphin has scored an absolute screamer for Rotherham United. Rotherham United have secured their championship status for next season.